Jake sat in his usual corner at the cafe, hands wrapped around a cup of coffee that had long gone cold. The steam had faded, much like his enthusiasm for the life he was living. He watched the world outside, the hurried steps of passers-by, the confident strides of professionals, the laughter of people who seemed to have figured it all out. He sighed. When did I start feeling like a spectator in my own life? The door swung open, and a familiar voice broke his thoughts. Jake. Long time, man. Jake looked up to see Ethan approaching, effortlessly confident, dressed sharply but casually, exuding the kind of energy that made people take notice. They hadn't seen each other in over a year, but Ethan looked like success itself, while Jake still felt like he was stuck in the same place. They shook hands, and Ethan sat across from him, setting his coffee down. So, what's been up with you? Jake forced a small smile. Same old, you know? Work, bills, routine. He shrugged. Nothing much. Ethan raised an eyebrow. That doesn't sound like the Jake I knew. You used to talk about starting your own thing, making a real impact. What happened to all those plans? Jake exhaled, running a hand through his hair. I don't know, man. I guess life happened. I got comfortable. Ethan leaned forward. Nah, you got scared. Jake looked at him, slightly defensive. It's not fear. It's just, I have responsibilities. A stable paycheck. I can't just risk everything chasing a dream. Ethan chuckled, shaking his head. That's the lie we tell ourselves, bro. I have responsibilities. I need stability. But deep down, you know that's just an excuse. Stability? That job could let you go tomorrow. Then what? Where's your so-called security? Jake looked down, his grip tightening on his coffee cup. He knew Ethan was right, but admitting it was harder than he thought. Ethan continued, his voice softer now. I used to be in your shoes, Jake. I was scared too. I stayed in a job I hated because I thought it was the responsible thing to do. But then I realized something. Every day that I stayed in that job, I was choosing fear over my future. I was trading time for money, but I wasn't growing. And that terrified me more than failing. Jake let out a breath. But what if I fail? What if I try and it doesn't work? Ethan smiled. Then you learn. You adapt. You try again. You think I got here without failing? I lost money. I made bad choices. But each time, I learned something that made me stronger. The real failure is never trying at all. Jake stared at his friend, feeling a mix of admiration and frustration. But where do I even start? Ethan leaned back, studying him for a moment. Start by making a decision. Right now, decide that you're done being a passenger in your own life. Decide that your dreams matter. Then take one step. Read a book. Take a course. Start a side project. Just do something. Jake sat silently, the words sinking in. The truth was, he already knew this. He had always known. But hearing it from Ethan made it real. Ethan smiled, seeing the shift in Jake's eyes. Your future is in your hands, man. Don't let it slip away. 6 months later, the cafe was the same, but everything else had changed. Jake walked in, standing taller, his eyes sharper, his energy different. He spotted Ethan at a table, already grinning before Jake even sat down. Ethan leaned back, nodding. Look at you. You're different. Jake smirked. Yeah, because I finally stopped waiting. I quit my job, started my own thing. Was it scary? Hell yeah. But for the first time, I feel like I'm actually living. Ethan raised his cup. Welcome to the other side, my friend. Jake lifted his own. For the first time in a long time, he wasn't afraid of the future. He was creating it.